Hello then folks, welcome back to some more Citie Skylines with me, FM. Good to see you, hope you're very well, and I find you well. Now then, today, lots to work on. Hopefully you've caught up on the extra episodes, and we've got a big task in hand as we go ahead and assault today's mission, which is to build the avenues correctly. The avenues, of course, are the long stretches of roads that come this way, neatly and in an organised fashion, and hopefully in a logical fashion as well. That might be the biggest challenge of all of this, but yeah, we'll delve in and have a little look. So yesterday I mentioned I would show you a picture in this particular corner, Columbus Circle. I failed to put the picture in the video, so here is the picture of Columbus Circle, and that's what we're going to attempt to build in this corner here. I do have an idea for it, to make it a very small, almost insignificant roundabout that goes by like a 5x5 circumference. So you can see if we sort of go to there. For some reason there it won't let me do it because the space is occupied, which is curious. That is weird. Can we do it here then instead? We can't do it there. Maybe we have to do a 6x6 or a 7x7 because it's not quite right. I think the 7x7 will probably work. The issue we've got though is that these lines in between don't fit. Now, I do know this is 32 across, and we're going to try and figure out what we can do by making it sort of in sectors of 8 rather than sectors of 10, which is what we usually work with. So first things first, we're going to delete that particular road and that road, and then figure it out in just a moment. Now, our next objective then is to get to a busy town, which is it's 4,400. We're currently at 2,200. So in this episode, we're going to attempt to double our population after just becoming a boom town. I mentioned we'll look at buses at some point. We'll definitely do that later on in this episode. But yeah, first things first, I'm going to try and reorganize the avenues a little bit so we can see what's going on. The rest of our city can carry on as normal in ×3 speed. But here we are. Like you can see, this here is 32. So divide 32 by 4 and you get 8. So in lines of 8 now, rather than lines of 10, which I think is about that, we should be able to get a nice even number, a nice even distribution of roads in between the 32 that we have currently. So we can almost do one there as well to give us 5 roads. Now I think 5, in terms of real New York, is slightly too many. If you can see things moving around and looking confusing, that's because I'm just checking it over on the other side of my monitor. But yeah, 5 is a little bit too many, but I'm not too bothered about that. We could do a 3, so we could have massive areas in between, and in fact maybe that makes more sense to only do 3. Oh blimey, yeah, maybe. But the 32, is that going to work out as we would like it to if we end up just having 2 on the insides of this, if you know what I mean, 2 roads that go on the inside of this? Because obviously we could, but it won't necessarily be even. Unless we go further along to 11 on each, and then we make them 11, but then obviously the one in the middle won't be 11. Oh heavens, viewers! This is where things get very, very taxing on the brain. So that's a 10 there, but it is an 11 there, and that becomes our avenues, and we have a little bit of space, a little bit of a wider space, and a gap in between. I don't really mind that. I don't think that's too bad actually. If we were to bring these roads down like this, again, we're still going to work on a one-way system in regards to all of this, but I think that in terms of look actually is far better. And again, if we were to bring these all the way down, it does look neat and tidy. We do have a little conflict there with the road that's going over the top, so we can't put it under yet. Same with that one as well. But I think that's going to be our best bet. The more I look at it there, the more I think that's probably about right. Yeah, I just worry that the roads are going to be a little bit too big and there's not going to be enough building space for certain objects. But I don't think we really have a choice. Of course, with all of this as well, we are looking to build across and have a Times Square-like area at some point, which will go around here, I imagine. But again, that's something to think about a little later on. Let's just make sure the city is working neatly. We have that one sort of question mark there over whether that road's going to connect to everything else. Of course, it will do. We're just not quite at that point yet as we try and develop things. In terms of demand as well, we've got the green, the blue, and the orange. So they all are at sort of medium want currently. But so I think what we should do is we should work on some public services. We've got a big enough city now, 2,400 people. Let's get a bus on the go. And I think our bus station is going to slot in quite neatly over here somewhere. If we just pop it there, I think makes the most amount of sense. Just pop it there, and so it doesn't get in the way. When buses then come out, they have an easier line of direction of. What phrase am I thinking of? I don't know. I'm struggling here. Route, a comfy route. There's not going to be many cars going into here except buses, so we'll go for that. Now, to sort out buses, you need bus lines. So we're going to do quite a basic one to begin with that basically covers our residential area from the off. So if you want to go from, let's say, the bottom part of there, and then round here, we'll do a stop there. It will then come across towards here. We'll then put one in front of the school, because I think that's quite a good place for a bus stop. We'll do one more inside the town again, but then it will loop round. I would quite like it to loop round. I wish you could make it like actually loop round, but you never seem to be able to. It always tries to find the quickest route, you see. So I'm going to have to put a route maybe there, or like a line there. Am I? I am. And then there. So there we are, though. And what we'll see happen are the buses will leave their station and they will begin to map the route. Of course, the further we go on, the more buses that we'll have. People are currently having to walk to work if they haven't got a car going around this roundabout. I think for now that's fine. Long term, we'll build maybe an underground station that will be in line with some of these avenues as they come down. Of course, if we're going to build it right out, all the way out, which I hope to do at some stage, we can go mad with it and go all over the place. So that could be really fun. I'm now wondering about some of these roads down here and how they're going to operate and what the purpose is. We've already built one, which could maybe go parallel to the central part of down here. I'm just thinking maybe this sort of design. I don't know. I don't hate that. It's not too dissimilar to real life. I think going that far in is maybe a bit daft, though. If we have it more curved down the bottom here, like that, I think that makes a little bit more sense, because then you can have something there. Of course, the World Trade Center is quite close to this area as well. And while I do like it to be, I want it to be somewhat accurate to real life. I don't want it to be exactly accurate, but you'd know looking at it. Oh, he's trying to build. He's trying is the keyword. He's trying to build New York. So I think that's the way we're going to go about things as we place a few more roads and the like in there. That one's got a bit of a dip, interestingly. We don't want that. We don't want a little dip there, because that's going to confuse things even more. Whether this road stays or goes at this stage, I don't know yet. I'm still a little bit unsure. And looking at the real life map, like this area here is a bit of a... Because considering New York is quite straight lined, quite like America is, like California is, like the big cities, big metropolitan cities are in America. This area here on the map, there's basically free roam to just do whatever you want. So I'm going to adopt that policy and essentially do whatever I want in where we next build. So let's just... I mean, it creates a weird wiggly line. Not if you go that way, it doesn't. We're fine. We'll do another one there. Again, we're not trying to cluster things up too much. You do want to be careful with it. Otherwise, we'll have a right issue on our hands. That makes sense to me. As does maybe a little road across there like that. And then another one that goes there. And actually, that looks all right. I think in terms of building it up a little bit, that's quite nice. I'm still not sure what I think about this one-way system out of here. I may well build another road, actually, that goes in this direction that also leaves the city. Whether I want it to be straight or whether I want it to go maybe from there and curve round, or maybe curve into there. I'm not sure yet. There's different ways of doing it, I guess. We could always have it bend around like that and go in, but then the other road is conflicting. If you just pause it and remove that one and do that, because I think that's quite a nice natural curve there, that probably makes more sense like that. So again, you're getting cars that are always going to go that way in a one-way system, and cars coming in this way have got quite a clear path. If they're going to the industry, they're going to take that left turn. If they're going anywhere else, they're going to continue forward. If they're coming down this side, they'll probably go straight on. But you don't want this roundabout to get clogged up, and at some point it will do, because our only input for traffic at the moment is this road. These roads will become massively important at some point, and integrating those into this whole city build is going to be expensive, but it's going to be really, really important. We're at 2,700 at the moment. We've built ourselves a bus station, which hopefully people are using. We can have a little check of that, actually, if you go on to one of these buses. 61 people per week. It's not massive at the moment. People maybe are unaware that they exist, but I'm hoping the one outside the school especially is going, so you can see that road sort of indents along there as we've now got the bus stop. Not too many people are waiting for it, but a few are. Quite a lot got off there, actually, to use the high school. So, again, placement's important as we look to build out a few different areas. I think more industry is probably going to be required. So there's a few little areas we can maybe pop that into, build this out a little longer so we can increase our amount of industry. I don't want that to be that sort of road, but this exclamation tool, perfect just for replacing roads that you don't quite want as they are to begin with. Let's just do another one here, shall we? Into there, like that, lovely. And again, put down a little bit more industry. And of course, the exit road now, this will start to take shape on this outer curve. We just don't really know what we're doing with it yet because we haven't connected it because of our water. We could move it to the other side, which would be quite a dramatic shift for us, but I think actually is going to become a necessity. Just on that, let's make sure our water and electricity are good. Yep, still fine in terms of that. So we'll do a quick pause, and just so we can build this road down, we're going to bring the water sources or the water units over to this side so we can build the road and remove some of these power lines. Of course, we then have to put in the drain pipes or the water pipes here. We'll go to there. The slope is too steep, apparently. We're going to have to go across there, which is very annoying. It doesn't look perfect now. And I think the best part is sometimes making it look perfect. I'm just wondering, this power line here doesn't need to exist anymore. If we can please select power in some capacity. There we go. That's better. Get rid of those ones. And hopefully our road, I think that might become an issue. So we're still paused. And while it's paused, nothing happens. So you're usually fine. We're going to again select the free roam road to do this, and then build our way around up towards here. And I think it's giving us a really nice shape, I must say. That's one thing I do really like about this so far, is that it's giving us a bit of a border to the rest of the city, which I do really, really like. And again, we can go, because we've got the grid up here, we can go all the way up there. And I quite like that. And again, this comes the Upper East Side now. And we can work on a few areas. We haven't got a cemetery. Oh, good heavens. Okay, yep. Now, people are dying and there's no one to pick them up. Where do we put the cemetery? That's quite tricky, actually. Maybe in this space here that we've already created, it's a little bit more out of the way. It's a little more private in that sense. Does it cover the whole area? You can see just at the top there, it's still grey when I place that down. Whereas if we went in this sort of area, it would cover the whole thing. But I'm not sure I want to put a cemetery in that position. What about here? Do we have the same problem? Yeah, it's a similar issue, isn't it, really? I guess in this sort of mismatch area, we could pop it near the roundabout. It's not overly private, but it's more about a necessity of build here. So I think popping it in there is probably best. Everyone appears to love it. But yeah, we need that straight away. Something I completely forgot to do was put in the cemetery. You can get crematoriums as well, which are nowhere near as big and they don't fill, whereas the cemeteries can only take 300 deceased bodies. So with the crematoriums, of course, they don't store the bodies there. So what a lovely conversation, viewers. Are you enjoying this relaxing City Skylines adventure we're on? Blimey. Right. I'm just wondering. Oh, electricity. Oh, I didn't connect it back up. Oh, for heaven's sake. That could have been an all-out calamity. There we go. As you'll see, look, there you are. It all connects up again beautifully. And we're on a full power source. Although our electricity consumption has just motored up. That's interesting. It felt like it was a lot lower beforehand. So we're going to have to put in another power plant. I don't love to do that. And I quite like the idea of using these wind turbines. But I want to build out on this side eventually. In sort of the Long Island area. Away from Brooklyn. So I don't think I want to put more windmills down. I could put them over here, over the sort of the Hoboken side of things. I think it's Hoboken, isn't it? Yeah, we could put them over here. I'm not sure. Towards like Jersey City, and then build it all the way back across. I don't think we do that right now. I will say that. So I'm going to go with a power plant. They're not pretty in any sense of the word, but they do the job, and they build up really nicely. Again, we can make this area look a lot prettier. So far, this dirty, grimy area we will call Wall Street. We can district these off, which is going to be really cool, but I don't think some of you will be aware of that at the moment. So, of course, within New York, you have things like the East Village over on this side, which merges into around the Wall Street area. You've got the central area of Midtown. You've got Little Italy is around this area as well. So there's nice ways we can sort of zone them off. I'll give you an example of like this area. I'm not going to name it or anything, but you can do different ones and have them as under like different specifications, different policies, and things like that. And I think with a city like New York, that's a really nice thing to include and add as you go along. But so far, it's building up quite nicely. It's not quite got the skyscrapers that we know, but again, it'll start to look a lot neater the more we go into this. Now, with these roads, do I begin to build them a little further down? Do we start connecting them up? Or do we have the issue of the fact that these now aren't symmetrical to the roads that we have down the bottom here? Or do we go for a major redesign at some point, which would essentially mean removing all of these lines here, all these roads here, and building straight down? We can do that already, which I didn't actually think I'd be able to do because of the crate. Like, they create such a big dog leg that I wasn't sure if that would actually work. But it seems to. Would that connect there? Yeah, I'm just going to put that in as a place marker, really, because I know that at some point I am going to build them through where this road currently goes over the top. Again, I appreciate all the comments you've been leaving about suggestions as well on things we can do in terms of traffic management. Some of our traffic management at the moment is not the greatest. What we've essentially got at the moment is a massive big roundabout that goes all the way around the city, because we've now got a connection through there, and hopefully at some point they will start to use this outer road. Right now we're not really seeing too much use of it, partially because there's nothing down here, so there's not been a major demand for it, but at some point that will hopefully be the case. Shall we build some more roads down here? We're in need of industry. Again, 2,700. We're not massively improving in terms of the amount of people that live in our city. So I think residential areas, again, need to be built out. So let's do a few of these around this area here. We'll put a parking around here as well somewhere, I think, as we can build out. Hopefully it won't look too messy. Again, it doesn't look really clean, does it? But again, we're trying to build population to allow us to do other things into the future. That's the big thing. But so far in this episode, we've done quite a few helpful bits and pieces. We've worked out our lines that come down through the avenues. We've figured out the bus situation. We've built down here some nice roads out. The cemetery's been installed. So far, I do think like we've done a relatively decent job. And that's, that's good, isn't it? Right, viewers? That's good. That's what we're here for, I hope. Again, if you're enjoying these videos, do drop a like on them. It's a really good indicator to know that if I should do more. And so far, as I say, people seem to really be enjoying them. So if you get a second, just give it a thumbs up. That's what leave a like means. I don't know why I'm having to explain that. You probably all know. This is 2019, Ben. Wake up, for heaven's sake. Let's see. What we should maybe start doing as well, I mentioned this in the first few episodes, is that if you've got any questions you'd like to ask me, maybe not necessarily about Citie Skylines, but about anything at all, they can sort of become topics. For some builds, like this episode's actually been one of those examples where we've not had to talk through too much of what we're doing, so it would give me an opportunity to talk about things that you might be interested in, my thoughts on, I don't know, or just general questions, or we can talk about some of the life experiences I've had, or something like that. I don't know, anything that you find or think would be interesting to everyone else, then yeah, let me know in the old comment section, and we'll cover different topics. I say this is going to be quite podcasty, I think, but I like that. I think that's quite a nice thing to do, something I've never really done before on my channel. I've never done a solo podcast. I've had some like football podcast ventures before, but I've never done anything purely on this channel. We've got some plazas that I might pop in around this area. I don't think I'm going to, though. I'll just give them a park down here, because at the moment they look very, very grumpy about everything. So I'm going to put in a relatively big park. They're actually a bit too big looking at it. Is that a botanical gardens, Japanese garden, dog park? We'll put a little dog park in. Would you bring your dog to work, though, if you worked around these areas? You probably wouldn't. It's not health and safety. It's not smart at all. So we won't put it there at all. Change my mind. We've got a little carousel park that doesn't quite fit, or a bouncy castle. We're not going to quite do it. It'll destroy other areas. Oh, I was trying to place a park there, and I've had no luck at all. I guess one question we have got is the next square that we choose to build out at, gang, which is quite tricky, actually. I think our options at the moment are probably this one here or this one here. I don't think getting that small space there is of any use at all when we've got all this space here that is yet to be filled in. The same really applies for this area as well, that we don't really need it right now. So I think that one is quite good as we sort of head towards Queens, or we come down to the Brooklyn area. I think if I'm going to pick any, that's probably the one I'm most inclined to use in some capacity. Equally, see, the more I think about it, actually, I think we need this one. Because if we get this one here, we can start to build this highway, these dual highways underground. And we can do it on this side, so it goes under the river entirely. And you'd never know that they even exist. And that might be the ticket then, to actually pull out and have these ones here unlocked, so we can make it look a lot neater on this side. I think that's what we might do. I think that's what we'll do. Let me know what you think, gang, in terms of squares. What I'm going to do is number them for us, so you know what I'm on about. So the three that I'm considering is 1, 2, and that one there is number 3. So let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'll put, if I can remember, I'll put a poll in the top. If it's not there, though, just comment. And if you see someone else with that comment, thumbs it up. 1, 2, 3. What do we think? Industrial. We still need a lot more industrial areas. So I guess I'm going to build a few more out. We could, in theory, put them along here, and it won't create too much havoc. That was a terrible way of doing that. I'm going to use the brush tool and delete these, because that looks like a mess. So we can continue to build that little area out there. I don't want there to be too much clutter and confusion, so I'm still quite happy with what we've got. I am going to build a road that actually connects here as well. It bridges a little bit there, but it's okay. It looks fine, but it might help traffic flow if some industrial areas want to come into here now and then rise up through there into parts of the residential areas. As you can see, the residential area is still looking good. We're still quite a way off our boomtown. I think our population has increased by about 700, 800 or so. And if I was playing this a lot quicker, we probably could have done it by now. But I am being very careful and considerate about what I would like to build out and where. Considering we've got the high school over there, I think usually near high schools you have sort of a selection of shops quite nearby, don't you, generally speaking, for the convenience of others. So we'll pop a few in there. Maybe pop in one down here as well. We can do these 3 there, which will turn into little corner shops almost. And the same could apply. We could do a whole row there of shops and convenience at the very start, sort of at the bottom side, a little bit shorter as well. I think that could work nicely. And then Midtown, that's going to be, I think we're all looking forward to building out this area. We can use things like the Empire State Building once I unlock them. I don't think they're going to be here. We've got the World Trade Center and it's 70,000. And I kind of want to put it in because it would look really cool down here. You can see just how big it is, by the way. I don't know if anyone was really aware of just how massive it was going to be. I mean, I might remove it again, although I don't want it to cost me some construction. So, hang on, we've got to be careful with this. I've got to make sure it looks right. I'm just going to remove some of these roads here very briefly. And I think my World Trade Center is going to go in this area here, that block. I think, accurate-wise, it's not hugely incorrect to have it about there. It's not perfect. It's maybe better on that side, actually, the more I look at it. So... this is a big moment for us viewers. There it is. I was not expecting to have to do that. And there is the One World Trade Center looking glorious. You've got to say, it needs some electricity though. It's not connected to anything else currently. So let's just have a power line come over the road and then go towards there. And look at that. That's pretty sensational. If we zoom out, all of a sudden, you can slowly start to see how big it is. I think it is definitely one of the tallest buildings in the world, and because everything else around it is significantly shorter than in real life, it looks too big right now, and it is a massive structure as well, it's fair to say. It's really, really big. You can get it on the Steam Workshop. It doesn't come with the vanilla version of the game. We don't have any water down here or anything. We really weren't prepared to install this. It was a big moment, and I've crescendoed it very early on. How long have we been recording for? I just need to check that quickly. We're about 22 minutes in, and that tends to be our episode length, I think. So we'll call it a day there. And but you can see that our New York is starting to take shape, and it definitely looks a lot better now we've got the One World Trade Center slotted in there, looking lovely. But we definitely have to work on Midtown. Tomorrow's mission is definitely going to be to sort out this bridge. You know, we've got the bus station in now. That's really good. The industrial area is looking quite neat and tidy, and our population is still continuing to grow as everything works quite well. But yeah, we definitely have to work on this Midtown area, build that up. We can get high residential buildings in there as well. Our population has to grow. What has happened here? The water. Oh no! Oh my goodness me! I'll see you tomorrow, viewers. This is what we're working on now. Oh, good heavens!